You wanted the best, you got the best. So Saturday for me was a perfect day. Watched race day live. Yeah, that's the trail. I'm like, they're Pappy that's taught him all the tricks.
Tomac is awesome.
More fun.
Break glass in case of emergency.
Deegan's still the fastest in class.
It's no fake news.
I think Jet's going to win plenty of races.
It's like Spencer living in, me, my shadow. The Dell for breakfast. Destroyer.
Welcome to That Moto Show with Dirt Bike TV's Jay Clark and producer Donnie Bales.
That Moto Show, number 2 for 2025, Donnie, which is number 27 overall.
Yeah.
Nick Way. Yeah, and I don't recall there being a whole lot of 27s really
Isn't his son running that 27 too? Wasn't he running it in amateurs or whatever?
Yeah, he rips.
Yeah, he does. Oh, he's fast.
Yeah. So,
what do you think about all these second generation of riders like this? Now, there's a bunch of them which we didn't have before.
Yeah, Josh Grant's kids race, but no, I think it's tough for that second generation because you're not as your expectation level's really high.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Evan Ferry and now Reed's kids.
Yeah, it's like Spencer living in my shadow, right, Spencer?
Oh, Spencer working on bikes.
Yeah.
Like
he's like, why do I
generation? You know what?
Why do I even try?
You ever see that movie Multiplicity?
Yes,
it's a copy of a copy.
So anyway, so Spencer's not here, unfortunately. He's back to real life, but I have a replacement, Russell.
How's it going,
Russell? Hey, can you get up and show us your shirt on the back side for those? Now, you get down lower. Get down and go to your right.
Stay in the frame.
Right there. Right there.
In the frame.
Okay, that is the Dirt Bike TV shirt. Okay, you're back. So that's the shirt that's available. You can get it from Decal Works. You can use our links, and then we have a discount code DBTV1.
I'm also wearing one, but I didn't want to keep it.
Right. He didn't want to match.
I didn't want to match because I really feel like thing 1 and thing 2 or something back here.
So Russell's been on the team a long time, mainly before. When his life was happier. I want to say happier. More fun, right, Russell?
More fun.
You know what I call Russell,
freedom,
right?
Freedom. Less responsibility,
what do you call him?
We'll say. Less responsibility.
You know what I call Russell? I've called him this for years. Sir Roost-a-lot.
Sir Roost-a-lot.
Remember, he kept, everywhere we'd go trail riding, he's roosting.
There's no need to roost on a trail ride unless you're bored.
And I'm like, Russell, enough with the roosting, bro. Everybody back here is getting blasted.
Yep, that's Russell. And unfortunately, Russell only gets to ride like quarterly now.
Quarterly, it's going down. It used to be 2 every other month, and now we're quarterly. So.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So he's got kids, and his life was better. Or I'm not saying better.
It's not better.
It was
less
happier.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Less responsibility.
It was happier before. Now it's better in the grand scheme of things because he's, but before he had kids, he was number 1 to 2 on our. My riding program because Russell had this cool job at UPS where he worked nights. He would come straight over to my house like at 8 or 9 in the morning, right?
Every day.
He would come over. We'd work on stuff. We'd go riding, and in the wintertime, we'd be riding all the time. And we had quite the adventures. One of the coolest adventures, Russell's got one in mind, I think, but one of the ones that I thought of, we have riding east of us here. We were just getting into trail riding. I'd never been much of a trail rider at all. And I've told this story before, but we had this friend, we'll just say his name is Scott. And he told us of this trail area to the east. And I talked to him on the phone, described the whole trail. He couldn't go to show it to us, which was actually probably a really good thing because he described it all to us, told us where to park. And we didn't have a GoPro. It was an Epic HD.
Oh, I remember those.
Okay. And I put it on Russell because he was going to go out front. I had him go out front. It was just me and him. And was Josh with us?
Yeah, Josh was with us.
So we get the camera all set up. I send Russell out. I go, hey, we're supposed to go up to the top of this trail and we'll get to a thing. And when I talked to this guy on the phone, he's describing everything. I said, how long? He described where it was going to come out. Okay. And I said, how long? And he goes, we had some guys. We got stuck. We had to help guys. 2.5 hours or so. 2.5 hours for this trail. And I'm like,
epic trail.
I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. It's going to come out at a fire road. Boom. Okay.
I know exactly where this trail is.
So we do the whole thing, right? We get to the top, and when I get home, I download the footage, and I get the exact time, because I didn't have the exact time. But it took us like 16 minutes.
It's like 17 minutes, yeah.
to do this trail that took these dudes 2.5 hours, and not joke. So I called him when I got back, and I explained the whole thing. He goes, yeah, that's the trail. I'm like, it took us 16 minutes. Like, he's like, yeah, we got stuck. I had to help each other. I'm
Couple times.
Like, how bad does a 2.5 hour trail become 16 minutes?
Scott Hoffman and I parked in this. You told me where to park.
Yeah.
Parked in the same spot. Was doing the trail. You know, you do that first little hard section.
Yeah.
You start going up, and maybe 5 minutes in, there were like 3 or 4 guys coming down, and their minds were blown
That you were going up.
that we were going up. They're like, "You can't make it."
And for whatever it's worth, Rado used to only go down it.
Okay.
Now, then once he met me and I called him out, I said,
gotta go up.
Yeah. So anyway, it was pretty funny. It was a pretty funny thing. But
that is very funny.
So with Russell, we would do these things, and we were just learning trail riding. So what about the one you were thinking of on the way here?
Mine was close by the place with the thing east of us. And
Yeah.
it was we followed a rabbit trail thinking that
Somebody had cut it in though. There was some.
Somebody went down it. Somebody went down it.
There were some cut marks on this trail.
And it got smaller and smaller, and we were like convinced that it was going to connect, and we doubled down multiple times. It was like a
So
was
we had
that the same area across the road?
No, it was on the same
know
side.
the one across
Yes,
the road.
Yes, we did some of those. Were great.
Yeah.
Okay, but we get up there and we did this trail, and when he talks about doubling down is when there's sections that we have to carry the bikes over, like full on. There's no other way unless you're like.
unless you're going to turn around, right?
Unless you're Graham Jarvis.
So we had this theory that it's going to have to come out somewhere. Well, then it started warming up, and this is wintertime, but it started warming. It started getting well over 70, probably 75, and we were wearing vests and whatever because we started off cool. We're getting hot. I think we were out of water because we didn't even carry hydration packs. It was like we probably had water bottles or something, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we were out of water.
No fans on the bikes.
Yeah, and these were moto bikes.
They're Hondas.
Yeah, like 250.
Like 15,
did we have the
18 years
X's?
ago.
I don't even remember what we had, but all I know is after we carried the bikes over 2 sections or so, we're so far in there, I'm like, there's no way we're going backwards. No way. And we got to a point we had to just call it.
You admitted defeat.
And we probably
There was
only
one
went,
time-
we probably only
one
went
time.
like 2 or 3 miles, but and so it probably took us like the whole thing, the 2 or 3 miles back and forth, 4 hours, right?
Yeah, it
goodness.
was hours. Literally carrying bikes. 2 of us, like you get the front tire, I'll get the back tire.
It was
And
utterly.
we'll throw it
so
over this rock.
We learned a big lesson. Okay, and Spencer's pretty good about making sure I don't do that mistake again.
Well, now we have aids now that we didn't have then. When you can literally look at places on satellite.
Yes, and so we didn't have any clue. And somebody had cut it through, and it just got so small. So somebody was using it as a hiking trail. And
For sure.
I thought for sure it was going to make its way down, and then it never did. So it was unfortunate.
Made
so.
it ways backwards.
Hey, so Donnie, real
awesome.
quick. Donnie went to. We're going to talk Supercross and A1. Donnie went to A1.
That's right.
Tell us your quick race report from the day. Like, when you got there, and what you think of the whole day?
Well, first, I don't know if you want to start with this, but obviously I spent maybe a half hour, 45 minutes looking at the Ducati.
Oh,
And whatever you see it in a picture, it's like one of those things that's twice as good in person.
hey. It does look awesome, but we can't blow over the fact that last show we talked about that you were going to have to be later for the daytime program,
Yeah.
and you ended up because you're going to go to a wedding.
Yeah.
You ended up getting out of that.
I got out of the wedding.
You get out of the wedding,
Yeah.
so you could just go to Supercross.
So what happened was, you know how we are. So I kind of am continuously belly aching about going to this wedding. Now, it is my niece's wedding.
But you complained enough to where she finally just said, "Don't go."
Stop, I don't want you there, is
Right.
what she basically said. And
Priorities.
It went like this. I'm like, wedding. And then I brought up the fact that Supercross is now starting at 4:30, and I'm really shafted here,
Right.
And then she's like, fine, don't go. I don't want you there. I go, okay, sounds good to me. And that was it.
She didn't even finish the
No,
sentence.
no.
We're
It's
good.
like,
We're good.
have you ever seen that
You
video?
Here's your gift.
Yeah, you didn't say like, "Are you sure?"
No.
no.
There was
Okay.
no back.
All right, so Donnie went in. So tell us more about A1. Then you check out the Ducati, and then what?
Yeah, well,
Hey,
then
the crowds look insane. On the broadcast when they
Yeah.
showed the freestyle guys and all that stuff going on, it looked deep in the
it was
pits.
pretty packed.
Yeah.
But I went straight in and tried. I walked the pits just to see kind of KTM's and Ducatis. I saw the company that's going out of business.
Right.
Watched them. They seem to be racing just fine. And then I went and looked at the Ducati, which was simply amazing. And then I went straight in and started watching practice. So I wanted to sit.
Which Tomac on the 450s won, was top qualifier. Both.
So-
and he's
so,
never been. He's usually never
he's
been
not.
top.
He's usually like a fifth place qualifier.
Right.
So I know this sounds so stupid maybe, but he looks seriously racy.
Yeah.
Every time he was on the track.
Right.
So I've watched Tomac. We've watched him all these years. I never really see him check the board. He looks at the board, then he goes back out and blasts. And maybe like Sexton got on top, and then he went back out and did another one. And then Jet got on top of the board, and then he went back out and did another one. And it's just like he goes, okay, watch this. Like, whatever, hold my beer. I don't know what it is.
It was gnarly.
But he just, every single time I saw him on the track, there was no coasting.
Right.
It was wide open throttle.
Well, it was awesome to see. And then we get into the mains and the start. I during the heats, I could tell that start was too short.
It was way too short.
Because during the heats, I'm like, there's only half the good guys who want to get in there, and that's pretty tight. And then sure enough, we had some
I also
carnage.
think there's another aspect to it. Okay, I think which nobody's really talked about. I think it being a split start and that short makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because now you have two guys literally coming at each other
Yeah.
in that start. And you saw that in every single start where it got a little violent in that first corner.
Can you believe Anderson held it together when he was banging with Jet down that?
You know he's missing spokes, right?
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. He could hear them hitting the fork.
Oh.
And so he actually rode more timid because he goes, I don't want my wheel coming apart.
Oh, so he knew. There wasn't
I
good.
think he rode just hard enough to get third.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So no one really had that on their bingo card.
No.
Most of us didn't. I mean, I think there's people that picked Sexton to win. I picked him third.
I picked him second.
Okay. Good. So you're closer than me. And all my picks were terrible. Although at my wild card one, we had that ninth place, and I had Justin Hill.
Yeah.
He was in ninth for a while.
Yeah, and then he got sixth.
He got eighth. He was up one. He got
eighth. I got McElrath for
he wasn't close to ninth, right?
for ninth. Yeah, I got him for. I don't think he was.
No. Was he in the main?
Yeah, he was in the main.
Okay, he's just back further. All right, so anyway, fun deal. I've never done this fantasy stuff, and we did this one with our black underground, black dark web one.
Dark web.
And then Spencer's got one we're in, and we
What?
we all
How
did
come
terrible.
I didn't get in that one?
Well, you have to pay.
I'd pay.
Yeah.
You think I'm worried about paying?
Right. So we're gonna take every other week. Spencer had this week, and we did terrible.
It was really a really good race. I didn't. Jet did not look racy in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so we'll talk about San Diego in a minute, in a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
But hey, but it was a fun deal. Oh, Deegan was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Again, the short start killed him where he crashed. And the crash really kind of was his fault because he got funneled back, and then he ran into the back to the other whoever it was. He could have checked if he had checked up more and just been. He could have come out of there clean. He would have passed everybody and won if he hadn't gone down.
Hey, how funny that both the main Star Yamaha guys fell in the first lap
Yeah.
and both got fifth.
Oh yeah, they both did work up
Yeah.
to fifth. I think if Deegan had 5 more minutes, who knows how far he would have gone.
I believe that if
He was-
Tomac wouldn't have fallen, he would have won.
Yes. All right. So anyway, so we'll report back here on San Diego. But Saturday was the perfect day for me.
Yeah.
Just about perfect.
Yeah.
So what I did on Saturday, I was sick after our last show, but Saturday I rode Glen Helen in the morning. First time in 16 days I went without
Yeah.
riding. Isn't that terrible, Russell? Can you imagine?
I couldn't believe you went 16 without doing Moto.
You know that I rode last before he did.
That's
Which is
that's
pretty
never
rare.
happened.
So
never
it was
happened.
really 15 days without riding. It was the 16th day. We always my wife and I always argue about which ways does it make sense.
Right.
So, but I went 15 days without riding.
Right.
That's like
'Cause
your
it was a
deathbed.
Thursday after. I guess when you're counting down to Christmas or whatever, So anyway, it was 15 days. Rode Glen Helen in the morning, right in between these wind gaps, and it was. Right as I finished my moto and I left, it got worse. The wind got worse. So it was perfect. I got a really good ride in. And then I came home. Oh, we made it in time for, where'd we have? Whoa, the Dell for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that's when it's good. You get there before 11. You can still get breakfast. Eggs and cheese. Okay.
Rollers.
Then we worked on dirt bikes and watched Race Day Live. Had that going on in the shop.
Yeah.
Watched that. Then playoff game, football.
Yeah.
Watch that. Then night program starts at 4:35.
Okay, so I'll tell you 2 stories. I'm going to interrupt you. Number one, after my wife said, "Yeah, don't go to the wedding." I was like all planned out. And then
The green light.
And then somebody calls me and says, "Oh, you have to take a tire with me to the track." Okay, last
I know
minute.
who this was.
Yeah. So then he calls me up and he's like, "You got to take a tire." And I'm like, "Okay, okay, I have to take a tire." And I
You go
don't.
through security with your tire?
Yes, they tried
pat
to
you down and they
tried to stop me.
Yeah.
So they're just there was like they're stopping me from taking the tire through.
Did you tell them it was for Tomac?
I didn't say a
Did
word.
you say
All right.
it's for Jay Clark?
It's Jay. I go.
You
Jay
know,
Clark
hey,
says,
go ahead.
No,
Go
but
ahead.
one older security guy goes, "No, man, he's taking it for a rider. Leave him alone." Just like that. And I'm like, cool. And so I go in, but before I get there, somebody's yelling at me that I'm not there fast enough with the tire.
Yeah. You gotta
Well, you
play-
didn't have the
gotta play
wedding.
part,
you didn't have the
right?
wedding excuse, so I figured you'd get there earlier.
Dude,
You
I
were.
went to breakfast.
Right.
I cruised the whole day, except
Right.
for delivering a tire.
You still had plenty of time. You could have gone to the wedding.
Yeah, I don't think so. I disagree with that.
All right, so Saturday for me was a perfect day. People go, "Why don't you go to the races?" And why don't I go? Because I
So
could go.
I'm not joking. I probably had 4 people ask me why you don't go to the race.
races. And
This is like 20-year theme to.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's
hey,
like
when-
you get tickets, but you don't go.
and I went for
I
years.
saw him there about 4 or 5 years ago.
Nope.
Yes, be quiet.
Nope.
No, it was more than that.
On
Hold
Friday.
hold on.
On
It was
Friday.
more than
Oh,
that.
on a Friday.
On a
Okay.
Friday.
On a Friday, he was there changing tires,
Dunlop shirt,
and I
yeah.
go there, and I'm like, "Yeah, tomorrow." And he goes, "Not me."
I'll be
He was
at Glen
gone.
Helen.
Yeah,
So
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I've helped a few times, not very often. They don't, but a few times they wanted some help on Friday before.
I shot a bunch of pictures. You didn't even run anything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
I sent a bunch to you.
Yeah. Not that many. You were kind of slacking.
Everything I do, I'm slacking.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Oh, to remind everybody before we get too far, remember to email us your tech questions. Email. Don't
Don't
DM. Don't
DM.
comment on this video if you're listening to the video, or if you're on the podcast or whatever. So we have some great questions coming up. Hey, I do want to talk real briefly. Unfortunately, we're having like a obituary every show. Comment.
I don't like this very much.
All right, so this is our buddy Dave Feeney passed away. He was only another guy that was only 7 years older than me. Good guy, Dave Feeney. He came from Australia, and he came like in '93, and he worked at he worked for Phil Lawrence when I was. I remember when he was the Great Western Bank team. You know, when he was a privateer
remember that.
Cowie team.
Oh, yeah.
And he was at Yamaha Troy and so forth. He's been at Husky. He was at Husky for all of Zach Osborne's championships, his Supercross one and those outdoor ones. So it was really cool. Anyway, he got cancer, and the dude had beat it and was actually riding in the fall, and then it came back and was not good.
This is so
at all.
sad.
So anyway, he was a great dude. For those watching, we'll have a couple pictures here. MXA did a nice little tribute to him. He was just a really good dude, and he was just one of those really happy guys. When you talk to him, even he'd be at the track all the time, even if he wasn't racing or anything. He would just love to come out to the races with two-stroke race, vet race, whatever. He would come out, and him and his wife both rode, and we're always out there together. So it was really cool. And then on a side note, Malcolm Smith on just the other day. We'll have a link in our the show description, but they had a pretty cool little tribute memorial.
Literally, it was 3 hours long.
But I guess, the last, I only watched like an hour and a half or so
Yeah.
far. I haven't watched the whole thing, but the last bit of it's just a slideshow. So the last bit is so I started looking at it, but really cool tribute. Troy Lee was up there, Bud was Glenn Helen, all these different just legends and a lot of older guys that he's familiar with.
They had a lot of good stories they were talking
great,
about.
and they kept everybody real short.
Yep.
So unlike this show, okay. So they kept everybody real short, and it was a really good one. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Malcolm Smith, and that I would check out that podcast, that YouTube video. It's pretty cool. And like I said, we'll have a link. I think it's just Malcolm Smith's YouTube for the shop. And it was a live stream on Sunday after Anaheim won. So enough of that bummer stuff. So anyway, I think right here, San Diego Supercross.
Yeah, let's talk about San Diego a little bit.
So unique situation here. We're going to try something new. Right here, we're going to try to paste in Donnie and I talking about this on Saturday night, right after San Diego Supercross, before this gets published on Sunday.
I'm going to San Diego as well.
Yeah, show off.
Yeah, I'm putting show off.
What we could ride dirt bikes.
I work in the industry. That's what I do.
Jay will ride Christmas Eve, but he won't go to Supercross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I rode with him after Christmas, the day after Christmas.
Yeah, I think he's even done Christmas
Oh,
a
yeah.
time or two.
I've ridden on Christmas.
I've
If it's
ridden on
wet.
Christmas too,
Yeah.
but that was before I had kids.
Right.
We don't talk about that.
What about your life before kids, Russell?
I can't even remember.
I remember.
No, it's just
But now
like
it's
a
been like-
fog. It's like a
It's-
fog that didn't exist.
I remember about 30 pounds.
Is that-
But hey, dude's been losing. He's been losing so much weight.
He does look good.
Yeah.
He look
oh
good.
man.
Yeah. So he's been doing good, because Russell's a truck driver now
Trucker.
for UPS.
How
and
do you prevent yourself from smoking? How does every trucker smoke?
I don't know. I've heard this though, and it's a thing at the truck stop. But you don't want to, like, we go in sets. You don't want to your other guy smoking if you don't smoke.
Oh, that'd
right?
be terrible.
Yeah, that
Like
would
a
be
chimney,
bad.
right?
Yeah. Let's bring in the San Diego Supercross
San Diego.
news now.
All right, Donnie, you just got home from a long day of Supercross. What'd you think compared to Anaheim as far as the day and then the track during the daytime and all that?
I really feel like, compared to Anaheim, that it seemed like people were a little bit more, racers were more settled in to this track than they were to Anaheim. You know, whatever, everybody gets first race jitters or whatever, but that really seemed like it was out of the way.
Yeah, the track definitely looked raceable. And then when I got home, because I've used this term before, but I'm a fan, but I consider myself more of an athlete than an athletic supporter. So on race day today, I went to Glen Helen and did some motos, got into some races and stuff, and had a good time. So I consider myself a racer today, and then had this great afternoon. Like I told you, I did hit the Dell for breakfast on the way home, and then watched all of race day live in between working on bikes for the afternoon, and then settled in to watch those the night show, and it was pretty dang good. I mean, heat races were good. It was just a pretty exciting night, right? Like, and so. I haven't even talked to you about this yet, but what do you? How happy were you for Tomac?
Well, so yeah. First of all, for our thing with GL, I put Tomac as first. I got Tomac and Kenny right, so first and fourth. But I was out of my mind happy. Now during the race, I was a little concerned that, we've seen Jet in the past hang back a little bit and then have some explosive charge to get past somebody, but he never had that. So obviously I was so happy for that win.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. And it was, I do think Jet probably could have turned on a little bit more if it was more important mid to late season. But I think after last week's deal, he just wanted to cruise in there. And so you had Tomac and Lawrence and Webb. Webb, honestly, surprised me when Roxon caught up to him. He just fought and would not let Roxon pass him.
Yeah,
And
but
then
Roxon, Webb is Roxon's kryptonite, right? I mean, how many times has Webb come in, like for years, and got him in the last corner and all those kinds of things? So it's like, I just think those two happen to find each other all the time.
Yeah, and then Hunter, who they say is sick, and if he got any of that, what I had, I'd be amazed he was finishing. But Chase did catch him he was down by 11 seconds, I think, when he got into sixth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think he's gonna be able to do, and he caught right up to him at the end. But Hunter held him off, which was cool. But Chase to go from last to sixth, Tomac did it last week, going from last to fifth. So subsequently, the points, have you looked at the points yet? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the points are Tomac is one ahead of Chase.
Yeah, so he is up on points, 450 point standings, 42. So it's Tomac, Sexton, Roxon, Webb, Lawrence. That's pretty cool. So Tomac will have the red plate on at Anaheim next week. So that's pretty cool. So it was totally fun, digging Supercross, fun for everybody that's enjoying that. The 450 class was pretty rad. And as far as 250 class, what did you think there?
Well, first I was happy with hometown hero winning. In my other hometown, so so I was really happy with that. I was a little surprised, and last week it was the same. Deegan usually is so much a better starter than he's been these last two mains, which is kind of odd to me. But he definitely looked like the fastest guy. But Julian was, a super close second to being like fastest. Obviously he won, but I still think Deegan is probably still top of the class, but his starts are just not there.
And he can't give up that much time, and then the mains are only 15 minutes. That's a big difference. I think if the mains were longer, you could afford to get those not as good as starts. And I think if those mains are 5 minutes longer, I think he'd be even winning these races. Like this week, he would have won if it was 5 minutes longer.
He looked very unhappy on the podium. It looked like somebody kicked his puppy.
You didn't watch the interviews, but he says, "I'm sorry you guys had to watch that." That was his quote.
Yeah, well, I saw him up on the podium, but I couldn't hear him. The stadium there really doesn't have a great sound system, but I saw his face, and I didn't need to hear anything he said.
Oh, hey, for whatever it's worth, for the fans that are going to come to Southern California, which stadium's better to watch the race at, as far as watching?
I still think Anaheim's a better stadium.
Okay.
And even the track layout at Snapdragon, which it's a football stadium, but it still in a weird way feels smaller than Anaheim. I don't know why it felt that way. And the track was good, but there was really only two lanes, the back-to-back lanes that you could make up time, or good guy, and that was the whoops and the finish line lane. Now, Tomac did have that fast outside line in that little sand section, but that was just faster for Tomac, and the rest was only basically the whoops that they can make up time.
Yeah. Hey, let's go back to that. So when Tomac passed Lawrence Jett, and he passed him on the outside in that black sand section, that was awesome. He went out there, and no one had been going out there and passing anybody. He just goes out there and
he literally looked like he was on rails.
Yeah, it was rad. So anyway, fun time. Hopefully everybody enjoyed watching that, and we can just get back to our podcast, right?
Yep, sounds good.
All right. So hopefully that was really cool news from San Diego.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
So we'll bring that piece in of us talking about San Diego. So real quick, let's talk about a few videos that are out. We did a buttery tire change. For those that need another tire change video, we have yet another one. Also, we have Rado did our 250 KTM SXF, where he talked about how that's probably the best bike for most moto guys. And Donnie's he thinks about it sometimes. If Ducati probably made a 250, he'd probably do it. But so anyway, so we got that new video with the KTM 250 and with Rado. And then also, speaking of KTM going out of business, TacoMoto did a cool video, just like exactly what we talked about the other day. Is KTM going to be around? And he talks just about those same things, and he has a video. We have links in here, so we can have some of that in there, links to that video. But again, another guy that deals with a ton of KTM Husky gas dual sport bikes, especially, and he just was like kind of laughing at everybody thinking it's going out of business. And the comments were like, "Yeah, I listened to you, so I went and just bought a brand new 501 or 500 or whatever." So anyway, so that's a good one to check out. So let's get into some tech. Let's do a few some of our comments first. We have a bunch of those, right? Russ, we'll get Russ going first.
Gango 5040 commented, "Guys, the best tutorial for this. Is there any tips he didn't include?"
That's on our video on
buttery. Fixing your front end.
You got to read that part, Russell.
Yeah.
Did you not train
your
him?
front end
I did.
after a crash. Dirt bike. How to.
And he's saying that we did it all perfect. So basically, we have a video out there on our YouTube, and if you have questions, when you crash and your front end's a little bit tweaked, we have a video that shows you how to fix that correctly. So that's a really good one to do. So, all right. So I got another one here from the video that's been out like just over a year is our must know dirt bike hacks. And it's like 125 things, I think we call it. And this one says, "Thanks, brother. I feel like the info in here is worth a few $100 a class." So should I send him my Venmo?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, that's pretty cool. And I do feel like if you have somebody that's new to dirt biking or not very experienced, doesn't have their pappy that's taught them all the tricks, get them that video. Okay, and we should put that video link in the description of the show notes too. All right, Spence. So let's do that. All right, what do you got, Russell? You got another one?
I got another one.
Okay.
Must know dirt bike hacks and tips from Jake Klassen.
Yes.
With a big number. Great info. Great info.
Again, another backup. Like it's no fake news. And these are just from the last week. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I got from our dirt bike tire changing one, the science of dirt bike tire changing. We did it a while back. Rado shot this one. And you know what? Did I tell you the story of this one? Is that I think I did last show. Rado shot it, and then he sent me over the proof. And we shot it like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I told him I looked really fat in the video, so we needed to redo it. And he was all bummed. He was like, he thought I was serious. So I'm not that vain.
So did he, you know the old trick, right? The camera adds
20 pounds.
10 pounds? Well, how many cameras did you have on you?
Right. It was like 4 cameras.
4 cameras on you.
All right, says Jay, you are a dirt bike guru. Keep up the good work.
A guru.
Yeah, got to say what happened to the music rock in the background. All the best. And this is from Dunk 009. So he knows on YouTube we can't have the rock music in the back because it's all copyrighted.
It's all copyrighted.
So when you see YouTube, that's why we don't have the music. On Instagram, we can get away with it, that kind of thing. All right, Russell, go. What do you got?
Changing tires not with battery, or with battery and not scratching rims. It's from Uberta something Prime. My favorite tire changing channel, Pro Buds, is the ticket. That is the secret to changing tires. If you haven't tried this stuff, you must.
Yep, it's in our links, and we get a discount to buy the Pro Buds tire
I
plates.
remember it took you a long time to find them. Remember, it's like you would just...
Well, he started making, because we use a lot of industrial stuff. There's some other stuff you can use, but they come in huge tubes.
No, right. You would get them from like trucks.
5 gallon.
Truck stop, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he makes them in more manageable things. I can use a gallon in 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But most guys,
guys, it would dry out and it would be no good.
All right, what do you got, Donnie?
Rookie 9778 on the improved new KTM fuel pump. He says, how come it's not offered on the IMS website for the Gas 500 ES?
Okay, so unfortunate reality, and we have 2 of these. We just got these ES 500s, but they did make that tank at 3.5 gallons, so it's a bigger tank, I think it's 3.5. Anyway, it's a bigger tank, but it's still not going to pick up the bottom fuel to convert it to the old style pump. The problem is they don't sell very many gas bikes, and with the way things are right now, I don't see them investing in that. So that's one downside of the with IMS with the gases. I think we're pretty good on our dual sports. On their dual sports, we don't mind it being a little bit iffy on fuel because we're not going 200 miles or whatever without a gas station. We can be 100, 120 or whatever between gas stations. We're fine. If we have to go that far between gas stations, I think
it rides over.
We used to carry fuel.
Well,
behind the number plate.
No, we still carry fuel.
Okay.
We've carried fuel every ride I've been on. We've carried fuel.
It depends who's got a small tank. Back
we've
Russell
even
remembers
stashed fuel for next weekend out on the trail. Like
we'd have spots.
Yeah, spots.
All right. So I got a new one here from Rob Vaughn, and he says, "I like your work and wondering if you get my bike in there to you."
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. So the answer is no, unfortunately. So I can't even keep up on the work we have. Can't even get into all the political ramifications of no one wanting to work. But I can't even keep up on our work, let alone.
You ever see?
He had a really good shop boy one time though.
Yes, I need better shop boys.
Yeah. You ever notice? When you go into the Supercross pits, every big rig has on the side of it, "Not for hire."
Oh yeah, I should do that.
Right. So it's like. They have to put that commercially. Well, that's you. You're not for hire.
I could have it right here.
Right
the
there.
Logo. Okay.
Right. Not for hire.
Not for hire. All right, Russell, what do you got?
Another battery comment. Rolling Trips 41. Anytime I do a tire, I always come back to Mr. J and watch, and it's funny. And I'm doing my new wheels and tires today for my 03 KX 125 Privateer replica.
Nice.
So if a provider had a 03 KX 125 and 03, my bike would be what they would have.
That's a privateer. Okay. But yes.
Right.
Good job. Okay, so that's cool. And I appreciate the good words.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
Mr. Alex Wilbur from 26 Cold Blue Steel says, great show.
Oh, yeah.
I like the longer episodes. Thanks.
You like the longer episodes, Donnie?
I don't mind them.
Okay. Wasn't it 133 long?
Yeah, that was. It was
How
133.
cool was it that it ended
That's
at
his
133?
favorite
Yeah,
number.
I know what his number is.
No. Oh, hey.
How did you? How do we know? Okay, so we got
Hey,
the
next show. I don't want to talk about next show.
All right.
Next show is 28.
Oh yeah,
I'm on the road and I listen to the 133 and it's perfect.
You do?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, out on the road.
All right, we go back to dirt bike tire changing. Arm myself with the same tools and methods taught in this video for when I change my own tires, and I can say it was the easiest and fastest tire change I've ever had. Thank you so much. This is from Richard Underwood. So so do it the pro way. And now I will say these are not my techniques, but what I learned from Brian and the Dunlop guys. That's how I patterned it. All right, Russell, what do you got?
Sean Robb, 1620. Never miss a tire change vid with you guys. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's from changing tires with Buttery.
Buttery.
On. Yeah, that one was pretty popular. Okay, and he comes over quarterly or so to get something done. Bars Swap Media on another tire change one. I honestly don't understand why anyone that's not a professional runs tubes. Flats are the fastest way to DNF with new options like moose balls. You have pressure control with no flat wrists. Ultra HD tubes really are not much lighter, so the weight argument is not valid. Sure, you can make adjustments, but most people don't. Anyway, they run 12 to 13 PSI all the time. So just run a moose and stop worrying about flats. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you, but mooses are a lot more expensive, way more maintenance, and more difficult for the average person. So that's where I'm going.
And they still break down and go bad.
This is
If
a
you
problem.
ride it or not.
You're not supposed. If you have mooses in your bike, you don't want to leave your bike in the garage on its kickstand
Nope.
because they'll leave a flat spot. Just the weight of the bike sitting there. You want to leave it on a bike stand, so there's no pressure on there. It'll do that. Mooses are not without problems. I mean, they take maintenance and work. The guys that run mooses a lot that are pretty good at changing them, they will actually have piles of pieces of mooses that they'll pull a tire off that's 3/4 worn, or a quarter worn, let's say, right? Still has 3/4 life or whatever. Pull it off, stuff a piece in there to make it more firm, and then put it back in. They're just doing that all the time. So it's a lot of work on mooses, so it's not a no-brainer.
Listen, what is the number one complaint that you hear about your tire changing videos? What is the complaint?
Oh.
What are you going to do? What do they all claim you do?
Oh, scratch the rims.
What does a moose rim look like?
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's the thing. If you do mooses, you have to give up on that dream of not scratching.
They don't look scratched. They're gouged.
Because you're just digging at it,
Yep.
and it typically.
And you need to have probably stock at a tire iron company. You need to own 15 tire irons.
Yeah, you need a bunch.
Yeah.
So it definitely takes way more tools. You really should have a Rabaconda like we use.
Do they? And are they still like guys use vice grips too, right? And jam the vice grips.
Some will.
I've seen the vice grips on there. It's not attractive.
So we were not attractive. That's what she said.
Yeah.
All right, Russell, what do you got?
I got Buttery comment from Jim Business. Unbelievable collab. Couldn't have told you I wanted this, but it's exactly what I needed.
That goes right along with this next one. It says, this is from the Carl Joseph. Such a great episode. Keep them coming. We just get so much great comments, right? These are good for my ego and Donnie.
Yeah.
I don't know if did we have some good Donnie ones this week?
Nobody likes me.
No.
It's all right.
What do you got, Donnie?
I got from Jeff Daisy 4673 from the Cold Blue Steel. I honestly think it's crazy this channel only has 130,000 subscribers.
Oh.
I know for a fact that everybody that rides and watches anything on YouTube watches this channel. Just hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and it's literally free to help support the sport that we all love so much. Hit the like button too. It's not that hard. It just takes a legit 1 second. You're watching the video already, so hit the button.
Thanks, Mom.
Nice.
Mom, yeah.
So no,
My mom doesn't even know I'm on a podcast.
Right. It wasn't even rigged.
What's that?
But we appreciate our good followers for spreading the word. So remember, go spread the word.
Yeah.
All right, Russell.
I agree with him though. This channel does give the best information, and it's not.
Well,
I'm not even talking about this part.
Well, we don't.
All your other content.
One thing we don't do, since we try to stay tech focused, we don't have a lot of current events. We're not
Political.
breaking news,
Right.
As far as, and we're not.
We've gotten a little more breaking news here.
No, this is just us talking about races.
You're right.
Yeah, but we're not creating any scuttle or talking about problems or this or that. So we don't have any clickbait, I guess is the proper term.
We're not a problems focused group. Right. We're a solutions group. Focused group.
I want a riding solution group.
Solutions group.
I want guys riding more, fixing their bikes and riding more.
What is the name
Smiling
of our,
more.
What is the name of our text group?
Oh, that Moto show or which one?
No, the one with everybody on it about
making dreams come true.
Making dreams come true.
I started because we were doing a riding trips and a bunch of guys were going to go. And so and then they start bailing out. But, and it
Who
started,
does that, by the way?
Yeah.
Who does that? Who does that?
Who doesn't go at
He
all?
missed the last. He missed the last ride.
I'll go.
He
No,
was
I don't
possible
go.
for the last one, and he bailed out because his daughter's birthday was going on.
She said no.
I
She
have
said
the
no.
same exact problem on the next trip.
All right.
I got a 26 Cold Blue Steel comment.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Bryn Flynn 5547. Hey guys, from the Lower Thumb of Michigan, we drive 4.5 hours one way every 3 weeks for my 6-year-old grandson to race indoor AX near Columbus, Ohio.
Right there's good. That's plenty.
It's halfway, okay.
We were talking about that
I like
last
this guy.
Right. We were talking about this last time.
Yep.
About people whining about how far to go ride. This is what people do. You're going to do.
Well,
And
what are you and I-
Look, what are those memories he's
Races
creating
2
for?
classes, yeah.
Hey, what are you and I talking about doing in a few weeks? We're going to drive 8
same.
hours in a day to ride.
Yeah. 3.5, 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours each way.
4 hours each way.
Ride for probably 5 to 6.
And then come back.
That's
what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And neither one of us, we're not complaining about, we're excited to go.
Yeah. Well, I need to get some sleep on the way back so I can ride Saturday the next day.
Yeah.
Priorities.
I know somebody that can drive.
All right.
Priorities.
Okay, I'll go. Stringbender 247 for the Cold Steel again. Best podcast on YouTube concerning motorcycles. You guys rock. Also, this channel should have triple the subscribers. We just heard this.
We're noticing a theme.
So come on, people, hit the button. Let's keep this channel growing. Happy New Year to everyone. Can't wait to see the new content.
Okay. Well, very cool. All right. So I got one here. So filter maintenance done right. We have an air filter video. So a lot of these comments are on, we have videos on a ton of stuff. If you have a question about something, when you email us, we can usually send you links to those if you can't find them. Or you just Google the topic and put Dirt Bike TV after it. A lot of times you can find it. But this guy says, yeah, I'm 60 and I feel like I need to grease the sealing area of the filter. I need to break that old school habit. On his new KTM. And because these bikes, the filters nowadays seal so well, in the 70s and 80s, guys were used to putting a big old lip of grease on their filter and they'd push it on there. It just messed up the mic.
It's all right.
And they'd push the filter on there. The main reason we don't recommend putting grease on, there's a couple reasons. But first of all, it's a pain in the rear to clean up. Okay. Then the next problem is when you pull the filter off, chances are higher that you're going to do more damage by one of those grease clumps that's now has dirt on it falling into your intake track and not getting it out. So that's why there's no need. Most of the bikes, basically all the bikes now, I've never seen one suck dirt. If your filter's oiled properly, like how we show in our videos, it's never going to suck dirt around on that lip edge. All right, Russell, you got some questions for us?
I got a question.
Let's move on to questions.
Dirt bike tire change.
No, questions.
Oh, okay, Chuck
Yeah,
Q.
questions.
We're
Jay.
gonna skip the comments for a little bit. We'll come back to that.
133.
Yeah.
In your opinion, who makes what you would consider the best tires that are DOT approved for highways use, but also have good capability off-road? Hope to find a set that can be aired up and down to adapt. I live in Washington State, and there's quite a bit of wood riding. My ride, 2024 FE350S Husky. Thank you, sir.
Very cool. Okay, very polite. So first thing is, I got two things I told him straight away. I only ride Dunlops. Okay, so I don't try the other tires that are out there. And I only ride a minimal dual sport. I like to have one. It's like in case of Armageddon, right?
Yeah, it's break glass in case of emergency.
Right. So I love to have a good dual sport, but at the end of the day, I end up hardly ever using it. Now, I might use it more in the future, but where I live in Southern California, you have to ride like 30, people will laugh at me, but 20 or 30 minutes to get to anywhere halfway cool to go use it up, somewhere. So I just end up, and I prefer still, if I'm going to the track 2 or 3 days a week, I don't have any more time to ride typically, right? I need to be working. So that's my other problem. Now, so with that said, with dual sport tires, first of all, on the fronts, we tend to take motocross, use motocross front tires. So if you have, what I tell guys is make friends with a local motocross pro or amateur kid that you can get their used front tires for. So use motocross fronts. MX34, MX33, any of those tires, they're great. Use those. Okay, then on the rear, the K950s, that trials tire, that's street legal. That thing works well, lasts a long time.
I got one on my bike.
You got one on yours.
Yeah.
Works great. So those are really good dual sport tires, because in that dual sport, you want to be good on the asphalt. Maybe on the asphalt at 80 miles an hour, lean over. I wouldn't be recommending that. Okay, but we're not doing that kind of stuff. So if you're commuting, a true dual sport tire, D606 is the Dunlop that's street legal front and rear. That's going to be that kind of tire. But we prefer to have something that's more like the AT82 here on the trail.
GL did all those gnarly trails with us on a D606.
Right. He did, and in Utah.
In Utah.
A year and a half ago or whatever. And he was doing them all on that 606.
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't even think about it.
No.
He's like,
we're in sand and rock
Yeah.
and everything, and I want a gummy tire and everything. But he's such a good rider, he can get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's on tires. All right, Russell, what do we got next?
Laurenell, Jay, I have a question. I just bought a new Dunlop MX34 rear tire for my YZ250FX. And I noticed there was a yellow line going around the tire. I know what the yellow circle means, but I'm just curious. I don't know what the yellow line means. Like I said, just curious.
Tire markings. Okay.
I think it's the dot, though. They're talking about the dot.
No. They're talking about see the blue line all the way around that tire? That's what he's talking about.
So see the stripe. We call them stripes.
There's a red and yellow in there.
Yeah,
so those stripes.
that's for the Dunlop truck, isn't it?
Yeah. So these are for everybody that's manufacturing these to be able to see far away. It's a code. And you have a secret decoder ring. If you
drink more Ovaltine.
And with your decoder ring, you know that this yellow red is this size, which is was it 120 90 18?
Yes, 18. Yeah.
This size is an AT82, and they have all these different stripe colors. You see, this front just has a blue stripe, a single stripe. They'll do all these different stripes, and it's really helpful. And I'm sure I'm thinking of the race side. So in the race, they can have all the tires stacked in there, and they know just by looking, okay, I've got 30 of these right here. Boom, 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 boom. And you can see them and count them. And then up top of the trailer, they're all stacked. Now, this is just on the racing side, but on the manufacturing side, warehouse side, they can see what's all on a pallet and so forth. So
nobody could see on the truck the EN91.
No, that's true. Thanks, Donnie.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you told me you did it, what was my I didn't even say thank you, huh?
No, you didn't say thank you.
About what I say?
Didn't even
About
flinch.
time.
About time.
About time.
Didn't even-
So see this yellow dot? Can you see it? My point?
Yep.
Close enough?
That's what I thought he was talking about.
Do you know what the yellow dot is?
Is that the valve stem?
Well, lightest spot on the tire.
Lightest spot on the
It's the
tire.
lightest spot. So that's why they'll
Backwards
tend to, so they'll put that spot at the rim lock or the valve stem to help offset it. Now, for whatever it's worth, I never bother to worry about it, because on a dirt bike wheel, your wheel is so off. One clump of mud that balances off.
and what are we talking about here? A few ounces?
Oh, can't even. I don't know, man.
An ounce?
So I
But
have
if
a
you-
story about this, by the way.
Oh yeah.
20 years ago, we were at the X Games.
Oh yeah.
And you handed me off to the Dunlop trailer. I was supposed to balance the tires, and I did it
For
Donnie
Supermoto.
said. Supermoto.
Yeah.
They were opposite day. All of them were like out of balance, and they're like, "Hey, your guy had the yellow dot opposite."
Oh.
Let me tell you, in Supermoto, you can feel it.
Oh yeah.
They were
everything.
whining bad.
If you're on asphalt, you could feel that hop. So we
Oh
do
my
balance
gosh.
for whatever it's worth.
And
We
it gets
do-
scary because when you're going into a corner, a fast corner,
Oh,
and you
front
feel the
wheel?
bike, it starts chattering so bad that you definitely think you're gonna have problems.
Well, just the other day, I was talking. My buddy Travis was saying he put 2 rim locks on the front to make it easier to balance, so you don't have to use as much weight. The advantage of 2 rim locks is that if you do get a flat, it's way easier to ride it longer without it coming off the tire. So that's nice. But he's saying it's less weight to deal with when you go to static balance it. So that's kind of cool. So that's our tire markings for the day. And then with our AT82 tire here, I got a little dust bunny here. So what do you got next, Rusty?
Soren, hey Jay, probably a dumb question, but what would like a little insight? This is my first big bike. I was setting the compression clickers to the manual's recommendation. I noticed one clicker is at 3 and 9 o'clock position, and the other one is at 11, 5 o'clock position. Both are 12 clicks. Is it normal for the two clickers not to match?
So what he's talking about is on the top of and we get a lot of this, and I have to say, God bless these guys, right? But there's a lot of guys who they overthink a lot of things. And it's like, I would never in my life have ever even thought of this as being a big deal. But he's worried about that the clocking position of the fork clickers are not the same on each fork. You dial them all into 0, all the way in. And then usually when they stop, I kind of come out like a half, and you'll feel it get into its home. And then from there, I start counting out. Okay, go out to 9 or 10, whatever you're supposed to be out. He's saying that they're not, each fork isn't the same when he backs them. They're not at the same when they go all the way in, and when they come out, they're not at the same spot. Don't worry about it. No big deal.
It's because it's where the starting point is originally when they put the thread back in. So it's like wherever the thread position is how that is.
Not an option.
And we've had a few people even. They overthink a lot of things. We've had 2 or 3 guys who've sent us in. They go to do a clutch. They put new clutch plates in their newer bike.
I've done this.
And they're touching the basket, and it's moving a lot. They're like, it's all moving. The basket has to move. It has bushings. It has rubber cushions in there. It has to have some flex and movement to it, or it would just shear off and be all like a Harley or something, right? Like
one time I was putting a clutch back together, and I forgot to put in the center washer.
Oh, so your stack was all off.
Well, no, it just stayed engaged.
Oh,
I always forget the last steel sticks to the
pressure plate.
The pressure plate, and so
Very
we always
common.
have one extra. And Jay's like, "Take it apart." And I'm like, "You didn't even look at it." And he's like, the steel's in there.
Listen, every mistake that you know about,
he tells me do opposite of what you think, and you'll be all right.
He's seen it before.
There you go.
All right, what do you got next, Russell?
Austin B. Good afternoon. I was curious if you have a typical spec you follow for axle to bearing clearance. For example, Honda front wheel bearings are 20 millimeter ID, and your front axle measures something like 19.5. Would that be enough to call for a new axle? Or could you go further than that? I was changing tires and wheels bearings for a friend and got thinking about this and wondered if this is something I should stay measuring and checking for when I have the wheels off the bike. Thank you, Austin B.
I forgot about this one. So this is another overthinker guy. So wheel bearings and your axle, first of all, is never going to wear enough unless you were to just have a catastrophic problem. It's never going to wear enough to ever matter. And no one has, honestly, proper measuring tools to be actually even tell you, because you need a micrometer here and then an ID bore gauge on the bearing, so forth. With bearings, front wheel bearings, the easiest way to tell is just by moving the wheel side to side. See if you feel play.
Does it move? Does it not?
You need new bearings. And with a lot of the bikes, especially the KTM bikes, we have videos showing you how to properly put your front wheel on. With all the bikes, if you don't have your front wheel installed correctly, you can actually feel that it has play. You think it's shot. And we've had this happen a few times. You have to go loosen your front wheel, do it over, and it's solid. So pump the brakes if you think your wheel bearings are shot. Many times it's just your front wheel's not on correctly. So do that first. And you remember this?
Yeah. No, I'm saying.
I think we did it on one of your bikes.
Did on one of my bikes.
Yeah, it had a brand new wheel. We're like, I think one of us called faster. Hey, your wheel's messed up. This is when the 17.
Yep.
KTM came out, I think.
That's what it was on.
The KTMs were more drastic of a noticeable problem. And if you didn't get that front wheel installed correctly, it felt like it rocked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you this, going back to another Supermoto story, I smoked many wheel bearings on those bikes.
Oh, really?
Oh, you're doing 100 miles an hour, and I don't think they're designed for that.
No, not for so much, right? Because they're so slow speed normally. And they're just cheap bearings.
Yeah, well, and instead of a 21-inch front wheel, it has a 17-inch or 16.5.
It's just going fast.
It's just going so fast.
Okay, very cool. All right, well, that's good to know. Also, for whatever it's worth, when you're washing bikes, I have videos on how to properly wash bikes. When you're washing bikes, you don't keep that pressure washer right on those areas. In our videos, it might look like it, but I really pay attention to that I'm not blasting into bearing areas. So when I'm doing a front wheel, I'm on the hub, and the center of the hub that's dirty, and anything, I don't ever blast the side of the hub. I'm just whatever's residual. So, and sometimes there might be a little bit of spots I missed. We'll blow those off with air when we get back into the shop.
I never blast the lower fork tubes or the shock shaft.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm
careful.
so delicate in those areas.
Just
along with the bearings.
I back up a little bit.
Yep.
back up a little bit.
Never blast out, none of that.
You got a good list of photos going?
Yeah.
Good. All right, what do you got,
John
Russ?
K. Hello, Jay. Thanks for all the good info. Appreciate it. Wondering if I can use a 3M Super 77 spray adhesive or another more economical, easy to use fine adhesive like 3M Super Weather Stripping Black or Yellow adhesive for grip glue. Any help would be awesome. Thanks. That's the stuff.
Motion Pro grip glue.
Motion Pro
What
grip.
I like now, there's only 2 grip glues I would use. Is this, and this would dry over, be good for the next day. Okay, you're not riding this like in an hour. So this grip glue from Motion Pro is awesome because it doesn't leave a ton of nasty residue, and it does pretty dang good. So that's a really good one. The other one to use is basically a super glue, and most of them have one. With the super glue, you need to be on your A game. Okay, you got to really. I wear gloves, like I wear gloves because I hate getting super glue on my fingers and having to sand it off, in those spots. I'm sure we've all done that, right? So super glue, but we've also had problems super gluing and ruin a grip, cut it off, ruin it. So I like to have a helper. I pull on one side and the other guy's pushing, get on there and spin it, tighten. Okay. Next problem is you shouldn't be gluing grips on.
Bro, I was just going to say, the grip glue I use is ODI grips.
There you go. So that was all that information was for stuff I learned, years and years ago that we don't really do anymore.
Obsolete.
Yeah, obsolete. So ODI lock-on grips, it just makes life so much easier. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd really do it. When I do ride bikes with glued-on grips, I don't feel like it's any better. There's some guys that swear by it. There's a few that, big testers out there who like that feel being closer to the bar, and that it's really only your left grip, right? That's going to be any different.
Right, because the other one's exactly
the other one's going to be the same. So anyway,
I think it's people being too picky.
Right. All right.
Hey,
so we got through those questions. I want to pick up. Should we go into? Let's pick up on those YouTube questions. I got on those comments. I have a good one here on double tubing. We have a video showing double tubing on
A rear.
Yeah. And we do it up front sometimes, but mainly rear.
We just talked about this last show.
Yeah.
Double
So
tube.
we've got a comment. Guy says, curious if this would cause any issues when alternating between high and low, often on dual sport, high and low speeds. Could it cause extra tube to bunch up and pull the valve stem and on the good tube? I don't think so. We've never had a problem. So the only way I would see that is if you're running way too low a pressure and got up fast, like maybe. But we've never had any problems
What's
with...
the lowest pressure you would end up running off-road ever?
Well, like on that trials tire, like 8?
8.
Yeah. On the rear.
I've heard other guys going like literally down to 5.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
All right.
And that could do it, but like you said.
For sure. All right. What do you got, Russell?
I got a 26 cold blue steel comment from David Grunkley, 8407. Dig the J-Mart number 6 yam on your desk.
It's back there.
Yeah.
We can run a photo of it, Donnie, or I can just grab it.
You can grab it. I'll run a photo too.
These things are so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been warned. So like I want to go out and actually run it, but I've got a big warning from Jay
Not to do it on the asphalt.
not to do it on the asphalt. He said I'm just going to tear it up immediately.
Do you know why we know this?
I do, because breaking in bikes, I was like 20, and he put the new tires on first after the new engine.
Oh yeah.
I'd wear out in 10 minutes breaking in the bike on the asphalt, the brand new tires.
The front too, because he's grabbing all this front brake. The front
Handfuls of front brake.
Okay.
I could imagine. I understand how he rides.
20-year-old Russell was amazing in his own mind.
20-year-old Russell.
All right.
Here, I got one. John Helm 721. The YZ250 mod and more. It says it'd been cheaper just to lose 30 pounds.
Oh yes. So what he's saying is, because there's a theory supposedly that 1 pound's like 7 horsepower or something like that, but I don't think that's totally accurate on a dirt bike. But yes, he's saying rather than spend all this money on mods for your engine, lose some weight. Can't argue with that, right?
I mean, sure, there's something to that.
Yeah, I got another comment that goes right along with that. This is from that last show, the with Moto show, called Blue Steel. This is from H. Cath Breakerin. If we all want to be healthy, we must stay away from processed foods, sodas, sweets. Let's eat real food and be healthy. Okay.
This is groundbreaking.
Yeah. But I'm on this wagon. I've been doing a lot better. I mean, I'm not 100% there, but I'm way closer to that than I was years ago.
You and me both.
A lot
Yeah.
of people don't know Jay doesn't eat beef.
I knew that.
Doesn't-
forever. which blows my mind because I have two vices for food. He knows one of them for sure.
The
But
drumsticks?
Yeah, well, no, In-N-Out Burger. I love In-N-Out, and then obviously Chick-fil-A. But I actually basically have stopped eating Chick-fil-A since we've been doing
Yeah,
this.
there's
deal.
you can't really eat too low a carb there or anything.
No, but In-N-Out I can because
Yeah.
I just have a protein burger and go.
Right. So, I'm doing pretty good. I feel like my new logic is that I've eaten enough Skittles and Starbursts and
Splurging.
and ice cream and cookies and junk. For if we found some family in some third world country, I've eaten more in my lifetime than that entire family will in their lifetime, and probably all of their in-laws together. So that's my new logic is I've eaten enough
For a
little,
lifetime.
for a little village's lifetime. Okay,
There you go.
Myself, so I need to stop and leave some for the other villagers to
There
have
you
some.
go.
Okay, I should ship them off, right? All these.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but they wouldn't appreciate because it's junk. But yeah, because Skittles aren't even legal in a bunch of countries.
No.
No,
Because
those
they're
are,
dyes
the
in
food
those
coloring
things.
alone would
Yeah.
They're one of the
DQ 'em.
worst things ever. But I loved them. So Skittles pox, they say. All right, Russell, what do you got?
I got one that's just good props to you. Must know dirt bike hacks and tips. Ghost Rider 911 AJC, 100%. Great guy, thumbs up.
Right on. That goes back to that video, and it has a ton of views. But that video, share that video, that 125 tips and tricks. Share it with your people that don't know enough about dirt bikes because they will learn a bunch of good stuff. And actually, I have a really good idea that we're gonna do another. I don't want to say similar video, but a little bit of a video like that. Where I'm going to go over, I'm going to call it 133 tips. I don't know how many it's going to work out to, but I'm going to have a dirt bike.
Dirt bikes for dummies.
And I'm going to go over every single part on a dirt bike and talk about it, motocross, trail riding, and talk about pros and cons of things to do, whatever it is, from the tire, wheel bearings, rim, spokes. I'm going to work my way up. Bearings.
This is going to be a 25-hour video? What is this?
No, it'll be a good 30-40 minute video, I bet.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk
I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's going to be long, huh?
It's going to
It'll
be
a long
longer
one.
than that.
It's gonna be long.
It'll be an episode.
It's going to be more than an episode.
So
I think that it would take you 2 hours at least.
I don't think so. I'll talk
He talks fast. He talks fast. Everybody
I'll talk
comments
fast.
the talk.
And we're going to talk about 2-stroke and 4-stroke. We're going to go through the entire bike, top to bottom. So do you like this idea?
It sounds good.
It's good. Okay.
I like
As long
that.
as I'm
I like
not
that.
shooting the video,
Right.
I knew it.
I think
knew
it's
it.
going to be pretty good.
So I'm going to have to bring Spencer in town.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what I need to work on.
I'll stand back and yell from the back.
All right. Spencer, text Donnie if you think that's a good idea.
Do it, Spencer, right now.
All right.
All right, leaky carburetor. This is from today, Josh. I don't know how I found this video, but thank you. Holy shiz. I was just put my bike back together and was about to
Poop myself
when gas started pouring out every time I turned on the gas. He said peacock, but it's a pet cock,
Right.
which sounds even funnier. Here's my sub. You earned it.
Right. Okay, so we get this with the float bowl. We've done videos on this. If you turn your gas on your carbureted bike, which we still have a few carbureted bikes, unfortunately, because we do like fuel injection. But when you turn it on, your float gets stuck. There's gas pouring out the bottom of the carburetor. Everybody's like, oh, this is terrible. This sucks, right? So if you pull off the hose from the fuel tank and blow air into it going into the carb.
You're supposed to have a disclaimer.
Oh, yeah, because we had that one guy.
One guy.
He never wrote me back.
There's always one guy.
Because I gave him that.
This is not always one. This is just the most. This is one.
I gave him the smart aleck comment back, and I told him
You're going to add his name.
I put his name if he wanted me to do it. He never wrote back.
Never wrote back.
But anyway, we've had a million people between all the videos, and I would say for us, if your bike is like, if the carburetor hasn't been worked on or this bike's 30 years old, it might solve it for a minute. It's not going to solve the problem, but it might help you be able to ride that day. Blow that sucker out. It'll dislodge any debris in that needle seat, and you should be able to get through. So I'd say for us, it probably works 70 to 80% of the time. So that's pretty good if it saves you from having to tear a carburetor out. So we get a lot of good comments on there. Okay, I got a good one here. This is from Gobel Enrico. Okay, you're gonna like this. This is on our 4 strokes are better than 2 strokes video. I did a video on why 4 strokes are better than 2 strokes.
And you did one why 2 strokes,
2 strokes better than 4 strokes.
Jay's like a politician. He's just
Right.
back and forth, pleasing, not pleasing anybody, pleasing everybody.
When they went 4-stroke, he was squirreling away 2 strokes because he didn't want to switch.
Yeah.
I promised. So Russell knows this
Yeah.
time frame, and I remember. So I didn't start riding 4 strokes full time until 05.
I was going to say 6.
05 CRF 250R.
It was probably
Started
6 and 05, yeah.
and when you got the carbureted, but I was riding the 2 strokes, and the 2-stroke 250 I just wasn't very good. I wasn't very good at it. I'm still not very good, right? But
Well, you know what's funny about this? Hold on.
makes it easy.
Honestly, the lines on a motocross track are completely
Right.
different on a 2-stroke
Right.
than a 4-stroke.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing. If you're like, shooting these different lines, it made a big difference.
Well, I think you're going to like this comment, Donnie. You ready?
Go.
2 strokes is sex. 4 strokes is love. I ride both. I need both. All right, so thank Gobo Enrico for that one.
I like it.
I don't know if my wife will get to that part of the video. I don't know if she's
We'll
going to listen
see.
this long.
I got
We'll have
one.
to skip that one.
No, I got one here. From somebody, Jim Eckert.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Jim?
What's up, Jim? This is the best. The Kith episode is awesome. With all that-
So last episode, Donnie got us this cool shirt with the Tyson.
It's from my wife, honestly.
Yeah,
She's like,
it's-
I got a great idea for Jay.
Yeah. And so today we're actually going to go over Kith. All right, Russell, what do you got?
I got 26 Cold Blue Steel, James Wampler. I watch every show until the end. ... Just saying.
All right. Because we've been telling guys that they can get if they listen to the end, they can send me their photo and we'll post it and whatever. So,
Have you started that program?
oh yeah, we've posted a few
Nice.
dudes that have done that. All right.
My suggestion was for him to stop answering emails for solving these problems, and they have to listen to the show
Force them
to get the answer.
So on the tire change one, I got Power Wagon 3731. I wonder what he probably drives a Power Wagon, right?
I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
I would say so.
Remember Simon and Simon had a Power Wagon?
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
With that giant bumper on the front, remember? He'd
Yeah.
blast through everything.
I've changed many a tire in my 63 years, but never as easy as you. Time to
on.
learn your method.
Mad props.
Yeah, he wants to learn.
Mad props.
And then we have another cool blue steel one from H. Catherine Bracken, which I think might be this other guy. This podcast is just through the roof wonderful. So
Nice.
I like this, right?
Nice.
Oh, this is a good one because this guy asked. This is the same guy that Bracken. I found a channel recently, and I'm blown away with your knowledge and tips. Okay, great, and trips. It's incredible. Difficult for me to disassemble different parts in the bike, but on your own, watching your videos, it's helped me, and it's gotten very easy. I do have a question for you. I'm wondering what's the most reliable and non-breakable 250cc 4-stroke as well as 250cc 2-stroke in your opinion? Thank you. God bless. All right. So here's the problem or caveat to that. If you're talking used bikes, brand new bikes. Okay, used bikes, first of all, it's whichever one's been taken care of the best. Okay, so that's another problem. There's no one way to go, oh, the Honda's best at this, the KTM's best at this. When you go to used bikes, it's whichever one's been taken care of it and isn't thrashed. So if you're looking at a 150-hour KTM and you got a 50-hour Honda here, and you on the surface you're like, oh, that Honda's going to make way more sense because it's less hours, but it hasn't been maintained very well. And all those types of things, then I would maybe go to the higher hour bike that's been better maintained, right? So, but as far as brand new bikes, I think the Austrian bikes, the KTM bikes, are really good engine-wise, durability-wise, are really good. The Yamaha just upgraded in 24, their 250, 24, 25 has got a bunch of durability upgrades, and I think the durability is way better on the 24, 25 Yamaha, and I think all the other bikes are all right in there as far as durability, similar to each other.
But even those are the exact same thing as you're saying as buying a used bike. It's how you take care of them.
Right. Exactly. So what do you got, Russell?
I went out of order. I'm out.
You're done. Okay.
I
You got any left, Donnie?
Donnie has it.
I'm done.
You're done. Okay, that's easy. We're done. Oh, it's Kith time.
Kith.
Okay. So, Donnie, first of all, you were a Kiss fan.
Yes, for sure.
Were.
And,
So I have three older brothers. I'm the
right,
and so
and they had albums, Love Gun, and what albums do you remember looking at? Because the artwork on the Kiss albums, did that get you when you were a kid?
It was pretty. Yeah,
You're like, this is cool.
this is cool, and I didn't know if I should have been looking at it or not when I was,
Well, it's not like the Scorpions albums covers.
No, that's true. No, but I remember them young, right? Young.
So, what we're gonna do? Big Kiss fan. They have 29 albums or something
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, I think I basically have every one. I got some stolen when I had that. Is still some problem. But we're gonna break up Kiss between a few different shows. Probably
Okay.
the next 3 or 4
Okay.
shows. So this show is Kiss in Makeup, which is 73. The first album came out in 74.
to 80,
82.
82, 83.
Which was Creatures of
82
the Night.
is the last year they had makeup on.
Which is
83.
Creatures of the Night,
Yeah.
which was a bit of a mess time, but it's one of my favorite albums, which is Creatures of the Night. But you're gonna love this because I had the original CD stolen or whatever. Okay, so this one, they have a non-makeup, but this album came out with
It's makeup.
You remember?
Yeah.
They had and Ace was on there, but he didn't play hardly any of it, and they had Eric Carr in makeup in his
Yeah.
own design because
Yeah.
Peter Criss was out.
Right.
So Kiss is just really just Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
Well, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons had a band before Kiss,
The Wicked Lester.
Wicked Lester.
See?
And they made an album for Epic Records
Yeah.
that never got put out.
Right.
And so they were like, you guys suck and we're not putting this out.
Did you ever listen to music from the Elder? Their 81.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to revisit that.
Yeah, we'll
But so
revisit.
I'm going to pick my favorite Kiss makeup albums.
Oh,
they
boy.
were
Okay.
they got
Okay,
known.
wait, I should go first because
Okay.
Well, no, I mean it doesn't matter because we might cover
Yeah.
the same couple albums.
Might be the same one.
I only brought 2.
You brought 2, but for me, my favorite one by far, Kiss Alive.
And that's what they got known for was Kiss Alive.
And it's well, listen, that song, Rock and Roll All Night, right? I mean, in high school, like that song basically epitomized.
And their
high
first
school.
2 albums weren't that well received.
No.
Not until
Destroyer.
Until Alive came out.
Until Alive. Destroyer came out after Alive.
Yeah.
76 or something.
So-
So those are actually my 2 favorites, I would say.
So for me, in the music in that era, because you need an album to make the Alive or best of album, you'll call it. But they're the
Right,
ones.
right,
so when
right,
they came out with a live album, everybody realized this is cool because these guys are better live, and most bands aren't better live. Right?
Right.
Okay. So that was their thing. You wanted the best, you got the best. Okay. So Destroyer, and this is 76, right?
Yep.
76, Casablanca Records. Okay, Detroit Rock City.
Great song.
King of the Nighttime World.
Yeah.
God of Thunder, which is a Gene song. And did you know that Paul wrote God of Thunder for him? For Paul?
No.
And they changed it I was watching another podcast and Paul's, because it's Gene's biggest song that
Yeah.
he does
Last
his bass
Minute
solo
Game
to and
Changer?
everything.
Yeah.
And Paul wrote it for him, for himself. But then when they came in, I don't know if it was Bob Ezra, whoever said,
Did Paul and Gene ever have a falling out and come back?
I don't know how much, but
Because they still together essentially.
but now that they're done, I don't think they hang out or anything.
I
It's
heard they
business.
didn't hang out before. In
Right.
fact, I heard them talking that they don't align
on some things.
on some things.
Yeah. Well, okay. Then Great Expectations, Flaming Youth, Sweet Pain, Shout It Out Loud, Beth, Do You Love Me? Now, Beth's probably their song that most people over the years remember them from. Then you have I Was Made for Loving You on Dynasty. Dynasty's pretty good, but too much disco. And Unmasked has some disco, and then Elder's a weird thing. Creatures of the Night was the loud, and Creatures of the Night is
Such a great album.
And if you go on Spotify or something, there's a new Creatures of the Night remastered deal. That's awesome. All these different versions and so forth, remastered. Creatures of the Night, Killer, Keep Me Coming, Rock and Roll Hell, Danger, I Love It Loud, I Still Love You, Saint and Sinner, and War Machine. War Machine's awesome. And I Still Love You is just an awesome ballad that is
I wish we
guitar.
could play all these on our
Right,
show, man.
as I said them.
As you say 'em, like,
these two are my favorite.
Well, I think during the show, I would just like every song just in the background during the whole show.
Yeah, that'd be so rad.
Let's email Gene and see if he'll do that.
Yeah, he for $2.8 million.
Yeah.
He would let us. Do
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
They actually just sold their catalog for like $350 million or something crazy. Did you
Really?
know that?
No.
Sold it.
to Sony.
I don't know. I don't know
Sony
which
was
one.
buying
One of those
everybody's-
big ones.
Sony was buying everybody's.
Crew sold theirs.
Yep.
So what these bands and artists are doing is they're selling them. I want to get paid now and not leave it to my kids to screw up. So I want the money now. So anyway, so Kiss, the makeup years, I prefer I actually prefer most of the non-makeup music. So that's what we'll get to in the future. We're going to do favorite non-makeup years, which is basically from 83 with Lick It Up until Revenge. You can go later, but the Revenge is the best one.
My two favorite songs are Rock and Roll All Night and They Call Me Dr. Love. So those two are my favorite. And so it's like those are during the makeup years.
Yep. Okay. Well, we have to broaden our horizons. I'm going to do the solo albums too. I have all. Whoa! Don't say nothing. We're going to bring those in. So Kiss was so big that they actually had 4 solo albums at the same time in '77 or something.
Well, I'm drawing a blank. What was the album where they had all their different faces on each cover?
Rock and Roll Over.
Rock and Roll. I couldn't remember.
Rock and Roll Over.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on, man.
I know.
All
Listen,
right.
you're the Kiss expert.
Yeah, you and Jim. All right, so show is a little bit long because we're going to have that. We had to paste in that San Diego thing. So, but great show. Thanks, Russell, for coming in.
Thanks, Russell.
Could you think
Sir
you think you could go ride with us sometime?
Never.
Does he?
Just kidding.
Does he,
I would love
does
to
he
go
own
ride.
a bike, or is it going to be?
No, he's just on the
sponsored
he's on the
ride?
program.
Since 06 was my last bike that I owned.
Hey, so funny story on his last bike that he sold. If I told you this, he had a Honda 450, and we sold it to our mutual buddy, who I ride with up in Utah, the one that helped you out with that ticket, dude.
Oh yeah.
How funny of a circle is this?
Wow.
Okay,
Did you hear about
Sorry,
my-
Joe.
Do you hear about my
Before
ticket?
he tells the story, sorry, Joe.
Do you hear about my ticket?
Which one? Which one?
Okay, the latest one.
No, I didn't.
So Joe helped, which was awesome. Okay, and well deserved because we didn't deserve the ticket.
We did not deserve the
We were
ticket.
so mad. I was more mad than
Dude, I had to tell Jay to be quiet. I'm like, this guy's gonna haul us off pretty soon because he was like,
Egging him on.
We went on an on-ramp that was closed, but there was no sign
No
saying
marking.
it was closed.
No
like,
marking.
We're from California, man,
Yeah.
and there ain't no sign. Like how we... Well, this one isn't open yet. Like we don't live here. Like
that guy was laying in wait for this.
he was baiting us, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, totally baiting us. Anyway, so Russell sells him this Honda 450, which we done some work to, and I don't know, what, but we ran that water wetter. Okay, you're gonna love this story,
The
dude.
purple stuff, Kool-Aid.
It was like pink.
It's the pink stuff. Yeah.
Pink stuff, pink stuff.
There's no antifreeze. No antifreeze
No.
properties.
SoCal
That's
only.
only
SoCal only
It's
bike.
only for overheating.
SoCal only.
It's not for freezing.
So where did he took the bike up to Utah?
Sorry, Joe. Once again, sorry, Joe.
What did
Joe-
it split open?
Joe sends us a picture in January.
What did it split open?
The cylinder.
No way.
Yeah,
Wide open.
Cracked the
Do
cylinder.
you have a picture of it?
No, it was so long ago.
Will Joe have a picture of it?
Maybe.
Ask
Yeah,
Joe
okay.
for a
Sorry,
picture.
Brad, too.
We
Brad
we need that photo.
Brad had to fix that engine twice in a month. It was like it went to Utah and it came right back.
So we put in. We just had a water wetter. We didn't have coolant for whatever reason. We didn't think about it going to Utah, and it froze in his garage.
In
Which
the
is hard
garage?
to do, which is hard to do.
So
Wow.
it got really cold, froze. It cracked the cylinder. So he comes out and there's a puddle under his bike.
That's crazy.
So like later in the day when it warmed up a little bit, then it started melting and it went out this big old crack in his cylinder.
No
so,
way.
So poor Joe. Yeah.
Pink
so,
stuff. Pink
but
stuff.
I think we made it right though. I don't remember.
I'm going to
You
tell
did. You did. You sponsored the new engine, and I should have did it because I didn't tell him. Like, by the way, you're going to Utah. Switch out the.
Who would have thought of that? Like, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody would have.
Obviously we didn't.
I think that was 2 sponsored engines because he
That-
rebuilt
no.
it so I could sell it,
Oh, yeah.
and then it was a bad deal.
Yeah.
No, but when we
But
go,
we're past that. We don't even remember that story. Like that doesn't.
we remember it now, and it's now forever etched
There
in
you go.
internet
Sorry,
history.
Joe. Sorry, Brad.
Dang, that's crazy that thing split open.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully we can get Russell out riding. So anyway, thanks for listening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Listen to these cool companies. We have some cool companies. We have some great companies. We have the Honda 250 behind. I didn't even mention this thing behind Donnie and Russell. AHM did the suspension, twisted ECU, FMF pipe. Thing's really good stock. Really like the bike. Really fun. So at Recluse, we have the torque drive in there, and it's been good. I've been pounding on that thing a bit. Having fun. So Works Connection bits on there with our Elite clutch perch because it doesn't have hydraulic clutch. That's the one thing. We did a video where we rode the the Works Edition. What are they, RWE?
Yeah.
And it had a hydraulic clutch. It was 33% better with hydraulic clutch.
Yeah.
PB Blaster. PB Blaster.
All right, PB Blaster company is going to start making Moto products. PB Blaster, and they also own Liquid Wrench and Gunk. All three of those.
Wow.
They own a bunch of companies, but those are three that we're familiar with.
I like it.
And we'll have a bunch of those products.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Right on.
coming soon. Soon. And they're going to make some for power sports, like contact cleaner, and then all the, it'll be like SE33 or
Right. All that
kind of stuff. Yeah.
All
So it'll be
right.
cool. So, all right. Thanks, guys. See you guys next time. Thanks, Donnie.
See ya.
We work with some great companies, and here's a list of those right now. Dunlop Motorcycle Tires, Wiseco Piston, Vinco Air Shocks and Dirt Bike Parts, FMF Exhaust, Decal Works Graphics, Pro X Racing Parts, Recluse Clutch Revolution, Motion Pro Specialty Motorcycle Tools, Works Connection, Uni Filter, Klotz Oil, Cometic Gasket, MX Plastics, JE Pistons, Cardo Systems, ODI Bars and Grips. And remember, if you shop Rocky Mountain, use our link from our site, Linktree, or link in description of the videos. Thanks for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.